Back to Homiletics II, Lecture 14, Part B. The bottom of page 2. I tell you most seriously that the thing called effect is hateful because it is untrue, artificial, tricky, and therefore despicable. Never do anything for effect in your preaching. I do.
I don't think I even heard that saying.
Well, that's what you're going to argue with Mr. Spurgeon here. Be clear. Be clear and distinct at the very first. Your exordia are too good to be whispered to space. Speak them out boldly and command attention at the very outset by your manly tones.
You women.
Yeah. Do not start at the highest pitch as a rule, for then you will not be able to rise when you warm with the work, but still be outspoken from the first. Okay, so that first part. So you don't like to never do anything for effect.
Well, nothing fake. I don't know.
I think he's talking about more like planned out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get loud here, and you're right, going to get loud here, or something.
Well, there's sermons I've heard on TV or whatever where they keep building and building and building. They get loud and they come back and build.
That's got to be planned.
But yeah, oh, it's definitely planned.
Yeah. Well, like it was when we had our gesturing lectures, don't plan them out. Just as they come, let them come out. Anyways, lower the voice when suitable, even to a whisper. For soft, deliberate, solemn utterances are not only a relief to the ear, but have a great aptitude to reach your heart. You just want to speak that way the whole time, though. You need not speak in a loud voice in order to be heard well. Macaulay says of William Pitt, hey, there is a fly in here. I was wondering what you were doing over there. I've had it with you. Come on, I thought you were just like...
No, it was a fly.
Says of William Pitt, his voice, even when it sank to a whisper, was heard to the remotest benches of the House of Commons. Try all methods, from the sledgehammer to the puffball. Be as gentle as a zephyr and as furious as a tornado. Be indeed just what every common sense person is in his speech when he talks naturally, pleads vehemently, whispers confidentially, appeals plaintively, or publishes distinctly. How do they do it in their normal life? Well, why don't you do it that way when you preach? That's Spurgeon there when he was probably about 25 or 30.
Oh, I was wondering if that was Spurgeon.
Yeah. That's a long hair there. A bit too long for the pastorate, but we'll let him slack some because I guess he was...
It was England that was more common then.
Yeah.
He's not enough to grow a beard though.
Right.
Sorry.
Next to the moderation of lung force, I should place the rule, modulate your tones. Alter the key frequently and vary the strain constantly.
That's too bad.
Let the bass, the treble, and the tenor take their turn. I beseech you to do this out of pity to yourself and to those who hear you. God has mercy upon us and arranges all things to meet our cravings for variety. Yeah. That's a good point there. Let us have mercy upon our fellow creatures and not persecute them with the tedium of sameness. Just be aware of that. Have variety. Was that you? Is that you? It was a stomach thing, so it's okay. Use a change of pace while preaching. Do not preach an entire sermon at full volume. So give your voice a chance to rest. I like this one. If everything is emphasized, nothing is emphasized.
Yeah.
For proper care of the voice, there should be some loud speaking, some soft speaking, some conversational tone, and a variety of volume. I would say this, and I haven't had that many to try and train, but about 7 or 8 men. And the biggest issue, for their preaching at least, and teaching, was what we're talking about today. And gesturing. That gesturing and their vocal tone and loudness. Usually it's soft, and they were just comfortable in a conversational tone, and I understand that. But when you teach or preach, I would say in any venue, even this venue where it's small, you need to be at least somewhat louder than you would normally be in just a conversation. Why? Just the way, because people just command attention that way. And I just know when someone's just chatting with me, after a while, I grow weary listening to them. if they're louder and changing and variety and moving and gesturing's going on, I can probably stay awake a good 20, 30 minutes. Now the full 45 minutes of a sermon, that's a tough one. Unless the content is incredibly good. Which usually, sometimes it is here. Usually sometimes. There is an ecclesiastical twang which is much admired to the establishment, the sort of steeple-in-the-throat grandeur, an aristocratic, theologic, parsonic, supernatural, infrahuman mouthing of language and rolling over of words. I kind of know what he means, what we talked about earlier. Some preachers that yell a lot, and in one general tonal range, hey, here it is, will develop vocal cord polyps. And there's guys out there that have, even younger ones, and will then forevermore have a kind of gravelly, garbled, weakened tone to their voice that is wearisome to listen to. So take care of your voice. Use a wide range of vocal tones. Don't park at one tone too long. Avoid the standard, manly, almost as low as you can speak tone. That doesn't impress anybody. I don't think of you as more of a man because you can go to their lowest range all the time and talk like that. And ladies, you stop doing that too. Always trying to hit your lowest range. I was kidding. They're not in the kid mode right now. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Maybe they are. Phew. Because when I make the joke and I just go back down and looking at their notes, I go, oh no. I'll just give it up right now. How much more of this nonsense? Perform vocal exercises. This is Brother Hiles. Any muscle in the human body needs exercise. The wise pastor will perform vocal exercises before preaching and after, for that matter. Whatever he said. Though I do not have the strongest voice in the world, vocal exercises have enabled me to preach over 42,500 sermons over a period of nearly 40 years. This, I think, would not have been possible had I not been taught vocal. So that's what he does. And explain what he does. He lays his back on his bed and goes, ah, ee, ooh, ooh, ah. I don't do that.
Do choirs do stuff like that before they go sing too?
Yeah.
Or warm up people's.
I do know on Sunday morning, when it's ready for the Sunday school hour and we start singing, that I better have already practiced singing. Or this is stuff happens. It's not so good. He says, sing a lot. Singing is good voice exercise. Of course, this should not be excessively loud singing. Just sing with a normal singing voice. Be careful to sing from the diaphragm or stomach rather than the throat. Another thought was don't force excitement. Forced excitement tightens the voice muscles. So let the excitement while preaching come from the heart to the voice, not from the voice to the heart. This is getting tight around the neck as you're trying to make this happen. Exercise your voice on days you do not do any public speaking. Now, this kind of, to me, I don't know if it's counterintuitive, whatever the term is. It seemed like he would want to rest some. But he says the voice is like a muscle. It can be sore if it is not used regularly. Okay. A preacher who preaches daily and who cares for his voice properly will have less voice trouble than a preacher who preaches one day a week, all other things being equal. So if you just preach on Sundays, that's not as good. So on days when the voice is not used for preaching, it should be exercised on a regular basis. So I agree with that, what he says, but watch out, because if you have a really tough Saturday, Sunday, like me, I really need to let Monday be a whisper day. Then my voice is okay on Tuesday. So keep that in mind. If ministers would speak oftener, their throats and lungs would be less liable to disease. Okay, next one. Do not imitate other people's voices. So I think that's going to my, well, it says, rise to the manliness of originality. Then be original, be yourself, I said. Though if something works for someone else, you can adopt it, that's fine. Basically, I'm saying don't copy someone verbatim or just their exact style, everything they do. Because that's what we tend to want to do. We find a preacher we like as we're learning to be a preacher and go, I want to be like him. And so you change everything. You may adopt one thing he does. That's fine and dandy, but don't do everything. I don't think that's wise. Take great care of the consonants. Enunciate every one of them clearly. So focus on the consonants and ignore the vowels. The vowels will take care of themselves. Most people don't have a problem pronouncing vowels unless you're from certain parts of the country. Because how do they, in Massachusetts or Maine, how do they say park?
Hawk.
Boston, yeah. Hawk.
Yeah, sounds like
Hawk. Park.
and they get rid of the
I'm gonna
R.
go. Park the car.
Yeah.
Park the car. And down south, park, fixing to run that little buggy wagon into the. How would they say it? I don't know. No idea. They don't say it like park the car. Now speak with your hands in your waistcoat pocket so as to contract your lungs. Very good. Or maybe it's like this. Throw your shoulders back and sing. Don't lean over the desk or the pulpit while speaking, because it's not good for your lungs. It says, off with all tight cravats and button-up waistcoats. Let the bellows and pipes be loosened up. So I said, loosen up a bit, not too loose. So keep your suit coat on if at all possible. So what do you think about this loosening of the ties? You're getting into your, rolling up the sleeves, taking off the suit coat. Do you like it when a preacher does that? Have you seen him do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, oh wow, I guess it's just getting hot. I mean, is this going to be a really great sermon or what? What is the purpose of wearing the suit, the tie, if every time you preach you take the thing off after 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Just don't even bother with it. Just come out there in your sandals, and your t-shirt, and your shorts, and just let it rip. There's a reason why you wear that. So, and if it is really too hot, you don't have air conditioning, and you put it on for as long as you can stand it, okay. But I find it kind of like you're having your little fit behind the pulpit. You got to show them just how hot and intense you are. Try to avoid tension while preaching. So the more relaxed you are, even though you can be loud, the more relaxed you are, the less strain on the voice. Never speak right after eating, so that's a big one. I go have a fellowship meal, and then like they sometimes do at 5 o'clock, and if you're invited, preacher guest, and then you go sing or preach at 6:30. It's not good if you eat a lot. As you think about these things, we're almost done. This is helpful, I think. Get a friend to tell you your faults, or better still, an enemy. What a blessing such an irritating critic will be to a wise man. Correct yourself diligently and frequently. So that's why, at least if I'm training someone and they're serious about being a preacher or a pastor, I'm going to give them some food for thought. I'll be careful. Not always say that you stink, you still stink. I'll just tell them some helpful hints as I do it. And to have their wife tell him that too. And to have him watch himself preach and teach on the videos, which I don't know if any of Brother Vinci or Brother Anderson actually watched the whole thing, but it would be good for you. So videotape yourself and examine it ad nauseum. Be careful of repetitive little tics, grunts, words, and phrases like Do you like it when you hear someone say like every fifth word? No. Occasional it doesn't bother me. Or you see, you know, well, like.
Ooh, that's the one that jumps out at the others.
Like, yeah.
Well, because
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And you
it's
said
like,
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no content. Like what? You know what I'm saying? No. To be honest, I have no clue on earth what you're saying, sir. So watch those type of things. Have water handy, and I think it's wise. Only use it when necessary, though, because you're going to train yourself to have that water. So I use it if I'm getting dry. I try not to. Sometimes I'll have it there and I don't use it at all. But I have it there mainly for when I go to the and it starts swelling up and I'm going to not be able to preach. And I have to drown that thing for about 20 seconds and I might be able to calm it down because my vocal cords spasm and I can't do anything. Talk like that. That'll be it. Avoid lozenges in the mouth while speaking. It is tacky or tic-tacky. Laugh, we're at the bottom of this thing. Come on. I'll do that for you. Perhaps the most important thing that we can say is let your voice be honest. Let it show your heart. Use the same voice in preaching that you always use. Be yourself and take good care of that part of your anatomy that God has chosen to use to spread His truth, to train His people, and to point sinners to the Lamb of God that taketh away the sins of the world. You have only one voice. There's only one that you'll ever have. So take care of it because God needs it.